Hello everyone and welcome to a new series of reactions on my channel. It's the countdown to Halloween 2021 and this is the Haunting of Bly Manor. 2 Halloweens ago I did the first episode of the Haunting of Hill House among a few other kind of Halloweeny things. Then last Halloween I finished Hill House, I did the rest of it, one reaction a day in the lead up to Halloween, and a similar kind of thing this year but with the Haunting of Bly Manor. So the plan is one reaction every day leading up to Halloween. So, just over a week before Halloween, this is all going to be kicking off. Hopefully I can record and edit all of these in time. It's quite tight last year, but we managed it. Hopefully we'll be better organised this year, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I adored The Haunting of Hill House. What an incredible show, incredible story. I've been revisiting it recently to kind of get in the mood for this. I know it's obviously a different set of characters, different story kind of altogether. It's adapting something else entirely, but I think it's still kind of at least the same writer and director, I think, working on this, Mike Flanagan. I don't know if the crew or anything was completely different or what. I do know it's there's a few returning actors from The Haunting of Hill House, obviously playing different characters. So I'm expecting to see some familiar faces just playing different people, so I'm kind of prepared for that. And alongside that, there's going to be some new people in there as well. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. Obviously, it's been out for a little while now, and people did seem to really enjoy it, much as they did with Hill House. And even if I enjoy this half as much as I enjoyed Haunting of Hill House, this is still going to be a really incredible ride. And yeah, we'll see how spooky this one gets. Hill House really creeped me out quite a lot, but regardless, it's Halloween. It's the time of the year for this kind of thing, I suppose, and I'm just really excited to delve into what this story is going to be about, who these characters are, what this story is going to be across, I believe, 9 episodes. I think it's one less than Hill House was. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one, and just knowing that I decided to do this like last year. I have kind of been quite anxiously awaiting it, but I'm actually really in the mood for something a bit spooky, which is very rare for me. So I'm really excited to get into this, see what it's all about, and yeah, whatever the first episode may be, probably just kind of really setting the stage for spooky shenanigans and introducing us to these characters and some mysteries. Hill House did a great job, I think, setting up the characters and all these different questions that didn't pay off until near the end. So I'm not expecting to entirely understand everything that's going to be going on in the early episodes. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool story to check out and see what it is all about. So yeah, the countdown to Halloween is official for me now. And yeah, let's get into the first episode. That's the guy from The Room, isn't it?
No, heavens no. To truly love another person is to accept that the work of loving them is worth the pain of losing them. And that's it.
That's deep.
All.
They said his head was crushed in from where a horse had kicked him.
Ghost stories are worse when there's a kid.
Adds a little something, doesn't it?
I have a story.
Well,
Oh boy.
Well, it seems we have time enough and wine enough.
Oh, is it going to take 9 episodes by any chance? Oh. Oh no.
You'd be expected to tutor him so he doesn't fall behind. In that respect, your classroom experience may actually be of use. The same with Flora, my niece.
I'm not sure I like this guy.
Tutor her as well. The children are used to Bly. They spend summers and holidays there with their parents.
I'm not sure I'm going to be used to Bly.
What makes a woman of your age want to give up her life to take care of someone else's children? A life in America at that. Full time as well.
I'm sure we'll find out.
But I saw your ad 6 months ago, when I first arrived in London, and I have seen it every month since.
Oh.
Promising young woman. The children liked her. And then she... Well,
Murdered by
she
ghosts.
died.
Oh.
It's her own fault, to be blunt.
But there's just too many of them. And too little of you. So you just The ad said 2 children.
Shouldn't get overwhelmed if it's just 2,
Make a difference.
as opposed to a classroom full of them. Unless the children are haunted by ghosts. Are they haunted by ghosts?
You can reach me when I get to the house. I'll call you.
Does she have a thing with mirrors? Oh, I don't like... No. No. I'd rather not. Me.
Sorry about that. It's country roads.
Take me home.
How long was I out?
Oh, a while. Are you still on the
3
road?
years.
Frankly, I'm a rubbish driver. But not a bad cook, turns out.
Why'd you come in?
Did you have to tell that while you're driving, not cooking?
This. Just a silly thing, really. Just a moment.
It's my voodoo doll.
Perfectly splendid to meet you.
Perfectly splendid. Practically perfect in every way.
And it's perfectly splendid.
Is that her catchphrase? She said that like 3 times.
And it's perfectly splendid.
Oh, yeah, that's her catchphrase.
Not forgiving in the least. You see, Mrs. Gross says they're brutal on the...
I wish I had 1% of her confidence. No. Oh.
Oh! I'm sorry. May I come in? Yes, of course.
Jeez, child.
Just a little something to make you feel more welcome. Thank you.
Is it cursed? Still trying to master
I hope
tea.
it's alright. I haven't quite figured out tea yet, so.
It's fine, dear.
Oh.
He made me a macaroni and cheese sandwich once, which was divine.
So, what was the...
Oh, I thought she was going to say it was something else.
I've got to go home to my mum.
Disappointing.
You sound just like her.
Is she feeling better?
Much. Better every day, I reckon. Right.
Oh, that's going to be a sad backstory, isn't it?
Lovely young...
Oh, what? You're not gonna eat?
Yeah. I'll have it later.
Okay.
Everyone has secrets.
I'll give you some pointers.
Oh. Oh no, what can you see?
What?
Where did you get that?
What?
The butterfly clip.
Oh, Miles gave it to me.
He shouldn't have done that.
Who does it belong to?
Miss Jessel,
Who's that?
the other one. But for you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh. Oh, stop it. Creepy bastard.
No, thank you for making me feel so welcome.
Oh, why do they keep focusing on her in the background? Even that's just unnerving me, like that choice.
Who are all these?
Why, they're dolls, of course.
You, Miss,
They're
have
all
a
the
lot of
people I've
dolls.
killed.
Put her back.
Oh.
She stays there.
Maybe you should just throw her away. Because she's a creepy bitch.
Don't leave your room at night. Stay in your bed until morning.
Oh,
I don't think I can promise that,
it's not safe at night.
but it's certainly a good rule for you and your brother.
But you must.
Oh no, it's going to be creepy, isn't it? Should have brought alcohol if I got water. If any of those paintings move in the background, I'm going to shit myself. Maybe I already have. No. Okay. Why did that scare me? I literally hear that sound every day when I'm cooking. Is there someone watching through the window there? Oh no. I thought that was like an arm of one of her dolls.
What?
It's like a plague doctor mask thing, wasn't it?
Lady in the lake.
Flora.
Oh.
You spoke with my uncle. Well, of course, he hired me.
Did he ask about us?
Oh. Does he never see
All
you?
he did was talk about you two.
Is the lady in the lake going to be the previous person? Oh, hello. Hello, strange man.
What's for lunch?
Bangs and mash.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
The gardener did not even introduce herself to the new au pair. She barely acknowledged her at all. Simply treated her as if she'd always been there.
Are you sure you saw something like that?
Absolutely. I waved. He didn't wave back. But we do get rumblers sometimes.
The kids know something, don't they?
Well, you're not going to eat anything?
Oh, no, I already ate. Just here for the company.
You must try
Oh,
this.
I don't think she did. This is where the Spookingtons live. The kid's been there.
Mars is only 8, Flora 6. And that's enough bad luck for any two children to be, but then to think what came after. Your predecessor.
Yeah.
She was gone long before she waded into that lake.
Yeah.
Flora found her.
Oh,
And
God.
she found Flora. To hear her tell it, Rebecca's body in that water. Silence, it never felt so terrible. But now when I hear them cry or scream or yell, God, it's the most beautiful sound in the world. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
But dead is more than I'd like the older I get.
I'm sorry.
Oh, God, no need. I have been, and I remain a very happy woman.
Oh, I hope so, because she seems very wholesome. I wonder if Flora being like,
Clayton.
you know, perfectly splendid and everything, like all happy and stuff, is like overcompensating for
I shouldn't think so.
what she's actually going through.
Our game. Oh. I'm sorry.
Oh.
You know, you need to make sure that you pick these up.
Oh.
I'd hate to break.
No.
There's an electric fan in Flora's cupboard. I cannot sleep without it, I'm afraid.
Oh no, they're gonna lock her in, aren't they?
Guys,
Are you little shits, or are you trying to keep her safe?
open up. Open the door. Miles. Flora. Guys.
Oh shit.
I'm so sorry. So dreadfully sorry. It was an accident.
You accidentally locked her in.
Ed. Now.
Oh, the plague doctor thing's at the end of the room. I can see the beak. Fuck off. I'm sure that's fine. See, I want to like these children, but they're also creepy, but I'm not sure it's their fault that they're creepy. Okay, I thought that was a really strong premiere episode. You know, they laid out the setting and the characters and stuff really well. I really like this group of characters instantly as well. I think, you know, the thing with Hill House was, you know, it took you about halfway through the run, I think, to like properly get all like the key players, because you didn't really see much of them in each other's episodes, if you will, because it was like centric to each character. So you get kind of glimpses, but you wouldn't really understand them, you know, for a good like 5 or 6 episodes into it, once you've kind of, everyone's had their episode. But this one, you know, I like that it's kind of a different formula, in that it's framed as someone telling a story, first off, and I'm sure whoever, I think the actress's name is Carla, whoever Carla is playing, you know, later on down the line, telling the story, it's not her story, you know, obviously that's going to be something that I'm sure gets paid off as well, how she ties into it, how she heard the story. I don't know if she's going to be one of these characters, maybe older, maybe she's Danny older, but she's also saying it's not my story, but it could so be that she means, well, this is the story of, you know, Miles and Flora and what they're going through. So yeah, they laid out a lot of potential mysteries, and I'm looking forward to seeing what gets answered, what maybe doesn't, what are just red herrings. what things are linked together, exactly what's going on with what things are sinister, what things may not be, exactly what the whole kind of deal is. But yeah, I took to all these characters, incredibly quickly. So I'm looking forward to seeing how their stories expand and who we still may need to meet. Is this everyone that we need to know of? Are we going to see more of like Rebecca, for instance? Are we actually going to see her death and everything? What happened with her? Could it be like the Hill House kind of formula where we find out that Nell's dead in episode 1, and then eventually we kind of see all the details of exactly what led to her dying. Maybe we'll get like an episode all about Rebecca or something, if that's obviously relevant to the plot and what's going on. But yeah, I think they did a really great job at establishing all the different characters. Obviously Danny is the one I think we're going to be following mainly, and I really like Danny a lot, so that was good. It helps that I think the actress is just bloody fantastic. I loved her as Nell in Hill House, so I guess there's a bias in that sense that I'm just going to like her because I like the actress. It's going to be the same with anyone I think who turns up that was in Hill House. But yeah, I really like the kind of fish out of water, I guess, behind her character. The fact that she isn't from England and now she's come over here. She needs to get away from home for some reasons. There's obviously going to be some history there with her. What's going on with that? Why does she see this weird, like, glowy-eyed, glowy glasses guy in mirrors? And why is it only mirrors and reflections? Is it, what is that all about? And what's the backstory there? Is that what she was running from? All different things like that. Who was she on the phone to when she did tell someone, like, oh yeah, I've got a job, I'm going to be away longer than I anticipated. No, I'm not running. What do you mean? I'm assuming it was one of her parents or something, but we don't know for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what role she's going to play. But I immediately kind of loved the fact that even if she was like, I'm not going to get this job, but this guy's kind of been a bit snarky with me, I'm going to be snarky back. You can judge me all you want for, I'm young and yet I'm applying for a job like this. But she was, aware enough and in tune with things enough to know that the job had been advertised for a long time, so clearly there was more to it. So like that whole idea of what's the catch, I thought was really interesting, and her intuitiveness, I can speak, with that whole situation I found really endearing. And there's just little things I think as well, little character moments that I also find very endearing from her. Maybe it's just because I'm British, but the fact that she was like really trying to like make tea better and like get better at it and like practicing it, and a bit disappointed when she saw they didn't drink the tea she'd made them. Just little things like that. I was like, oh bless her. And I just found that really sweet and endearing. So I like that. And what she was saying about, maybe overwhelmed, just not enough of me for 25 kids in one classroom, but she could maybe handle 2. Although I feel like this is probably a bit more to deal with in the classroom, so we'll see how she handles it, because there's all sorts of creepy stuff going on surrounding it. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of learn a bit more about her backstory, particularly the creepy glowy eye man thing, and what that may relate to. So yeah, all good stuff with her. We met Henry very briefly, but he seems like a very distant kind of uncle figure, very much not involved in the family business. Is there going to be more to that? Maybe because of what's going on with his niece and nephew or their history and everything, maybe he's just actively staying away from it, not because he doesn't care about them or he's not like good at being a family man or something. It could be to do with grief for, if it was his brother or sister who, was the one who died in the accident, one of the parents, one of his siblings, he's probably lost someone that he was close to when the kids lost their parents. So maybe he's just, oh hello fly, maybe he's just finding it hard to deal with that, and his way of coping with it is to not face too many reminders of that and just throw himself into his work, which is why he can't look after them himself, of course. So that was interesting as well to see that. And the fact that they had that kind of bad job interview, very awkward. And I also like that Danny, when she saw him there, she approached him being like, I know I haven't got the job, but can you tell me you know, why. And it's that she was desperate for that answer. Like, what is your catch? She was so desperate for that. I think that's why she's still going to stick around. Because if that were me and those two little shits, if they are little shits, locked me in that cupboard for all that time, I'd have been fucking out of there. I'd have been like, screw you kids, I'm leaving. You know, better get that newspaper ad back up. And I'd have been out of there. But, you know, she's seen a few things she's intrigued by, like the guy she spotted who then suddenly disappeared. What on earth is going on with the kids? You know, the footprints at the end as well. She clearly has this kind of need for answers. I think there's this she's just intrigued by that whole thing. So I think that's going to keep her staying. And the narrating woman, Carla, she said when she saw the gardener lady, who I'm guessing is Jamie. They mentioned Jamie early in the episode. I think it was Flora being like, oh, you haven't met so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. I think she mentioned Jamie there. And I don't think we got the name of the gardener, so I'm assuming the gardener is Jamie, or Jamie is someone else we haven't met yet and we don't know the gardener's name. So I'm not quite sure if that's right or not. Obviously, I'll find out fairly soon, I would guess. But she mentioned something like, oh, it seems like she already knew her, or that like she felt like they'd been introduced or met before or something. So maybe there's that kind of connection that she's also intrigued by. Like, what does that mean? So more reasons to stay. Just intrigued by that whole idea and the fact that shenanigans are clearly going on. And she's been running from something anyway, so this could be an excuse for her to be like, I'm going to stick around here because then I don't have to deal with my own shit. So I quite like that. And I think it would make sense, even if things get a bit freaky and a bit scary. And obviously she really panicked when she was locked in that cupboard as well, which, fair. But I don't know if that's going to be something that's part of her backstory as well, something traumatic she's gone through. Maybe she doesn't like being in enclosed spaces, and she might have claustrophobia or something. So is that going to be something that's explored? Or is it just she freaked out because two children stared at her, tricked her into there to get a fan, and then just locked her in? So I don't know what's going on with those kids yet. So I'm not going to just label them as little shits and that's all they are. Because there's clearly something there. Clearly, those kids have been fucked up when they were very young. They lost their parents. I think it's like they were 8 and 6 years old. I think they lost their parents, and then to find the body floating in the lake of Danny's predecessor, Rebecca. So are we going to learn a bit more about Rebecca as well? Get like an episode with her. Kind of like how they set things up in Hill House. Nell dies episode 1. And then we see how she died. They're going to fill in the gaps like that. So like structurally it's already quite different from Hill House because every key character kind of got their own episode, and by the midway point only then we'd kind of gotten to know all the characters. I think with this all the key players were kind of introduced fairly early on. We know their deals. So maybe there'll be more to the whole Rebecca situation, but obviously that scarred those kids. As Hannah was talking about, they were kind of closed off and silent for a long time. And I love that monologue. That was really beautifully delivered as well. The actress who plays Hannah. I think the actress who plays Hannah, she's quite a popular pick, I think, for the next Doctor. I mean, Doctor Who. And I'd quite like to see it. I know she's been in Doctor Who already, but that doesn't really matter, does it? So, yeah, there's a lot of kind of different stuff with the kids. And losing their parents is going to be difficult enough, especially that young. That's just going to influence the rest of their lives. What's going on with all of that, and the nanny on top of that died. The fact that Flora has this thing with her dolls and some kind of weird connection with them. She seems almost afraid of some of them, but yeah, I think she made them. So is there kind of some ghostly shenanigans going on with that? Because they seem to, when Danny hit one of the dolls, there was a physical response from Flora, so it seems like there's some kind of connection there. I'm excited to see what that is. And we know Miles had some trouble at his boarding school, so got sent home early. What's going on with that? Playing pranks or whatever. The scene with the spider. There's lots of little things there, and Miles and Flora just seem to have a little connection between the two of them. Like they know a bit more than they're letting on. Or they know, like, oh yeah, we know what we have to do here, because they like tricked Danny into that cupboard. And I don't know if that was just them because she'd broken her promise to Flora and she'd actually got Anne out of bed that night. She didn't stay in her room all night. They were like, well, we're going to guarantee that you you stay safe tonight and we're going to lock you in this cupboard. So maybe it's just something like that, which again still isn't particularly the right thing to do on their part, but maybe it's just, from the goodness of their hearts, they're kind of trying to cope with that and keep her safe in that way, because Flora's obviously very keen on protecting everyone, because she makes all these dolls that apparently keep everyone in the house safe. So it didn't have Rebecca, but I imagine this all happened after Rebecca. So there's a lot of things like that, like what is going on with those kids, what's really happened to them, is there some kind of weird supernatural spooky connection with their behaviours and stuff? Are they being influenced somehow? Is it just that they've been mucked up as kids from all these tragedies? Because that would also kind of make a lot of sense, but there's going to be more to it than that as well. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with that. But from what we've seen of the kids, I do like them, until we get confirmation either way if they're just little shits. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think there's so much more to it than that, because they do have moments of genuine connection with Danny. But then you also have them locking her in a cupboard, Miles watching her get undressed from the door, and things like that. So, are they just mucked up kids? Is there something influencing them? Are they evil? Are they Satan's spawn? I don't know. But I'm intrigued to find out. And, the idea that Flora thinks everything is, perfectly splendid or something like that, she says, doesn't she? I think that's just maybe her overcompensating. That's a coping mechanism for her. If she just says everything's fine and dandy and wonderful, then she can just believe it is. Because it's just make believe. She's just pretending, like she plays with all her dolls. So it's just like she's just creating her own little world for herself. But it's gonna have some kind of spooky shenanigans connected to it, I would imagine. So I'm really intrigued to see what's gonna happen with the two kids. And yeah, if Henry's gonna properly come into play at some point, then one down the line as well. Gardner, maybe Jamie, maybe another name, I don't know. We only really saw her very briefly at the end there, so I'm not quite sure what's going to go on with her, but there seems to be maybe an unspoken bond with her and Danny. Maybe they have met before, maybe there's something there. Is it a different life? I don't know. So we'll see if that gets explored, or when that gets explored. I'm looking forward to that. And just little creepy things, like the guy with the glowy eyes that is in the mirrors. What's the deal with that? Plague Doctor mask thing that seems to be watching Danny, but they didn't really notice it was there. Who the hell was that? Is that the mysterious man that vanished, that she saw? Is that something else entirely? That feels very separate from everything else right now. So I'm intrigued to kind of get some answers about that later on down the line. And then the only other ones of note really are Owen and Hannah. I really like Owen. He seems quite wholesome. But Owen and Hannah also seem to have their own tragic little secrets and backstories, which makes sense because they're going to be spending time with these characters. They're going to have something to them. So Owen has his sick mum, who I'm guessing is actually getting worse and worse, not better and better, as Hannah also believes, because he's leaving earlier and earlier, to kind of treat her. So is there going to be something to do with that? Is that also going to connect to this somehow? What is going on with all of that? And, the Lady of the Lake thing, that's a whole business. I'm sure Rebecca's going to come back and haunt us, quite literally. So little mysteries like that with Owen, and on, surface value, I think he does seem like a genuinely just good guy. So I don't know if there's going to be something, ghostly with his mother, or if it's just one of those things that's happening. But he does seem like a nice kind of person to have around the kids as well. He just seems like a nice guy. So I'm intrigued to learn a bit more about him and what's going on with his whole deal. The fact that, he grew up in Bly, he's always been in that area, yet he doesn't like it. Did he just stay for his mother? Did he ever feel like he needs to spread his wings full time and just get out altogether? Why is he not gotten out, ever gotten out forever, if he doesn't really like the people or whatever that much? What's keeping him there? and that's something that maybe links these characters. Like, why is Danny staying there? Because of all these mysteries and things she's running from. Why is Owen staying there? Is, you know, Bly itself just keeping these people there for whatever reason it may be? We'll have to wait and see. And then Hannah, I'm also very intrigued by. She also seems quite nice. Also in her own little world, and like when we first saw her, she was just like away with the fairies, and in the church as well, there was like chapel scene, which was a lovely little speech and a performance about the kids. Clearly, you know, her and Owen have it in common. They clearly really like the kids. And when she, you know, because they'd been quiet and silent after Rebecca's death, when she then's like, oh, you know, when they started like screaming and crying and stuff again, it was like a beautiful sound to her, because, you know, at least it was like they were back and they were getting better because they were being kids again. That was a really beautiful sentiment. I really enjoyed that. These kind of shows do have those profound moments and those profound speeches. There was one quite early on as well, from the old lady Carla, who was telling the story. Can't remember what it was she was saying. Something about love, I think. But yeah, how that's all going to tie in. Who is that? I feel like that's going to be something at the very end to reveal exactly who the older woman is telling the story. But yeah, Hannah, I don't think she's eating. I don't know if, you know, she's obviously got some own secrets, or she's struggling with something. She's like, oh, I've already eaten. Or she's like, oh no, I eat that later. So does she not eat, or does she just prefer her own privacy? There's obviously something on her mind, something bothering her, something affecting her somehow. There seems to be, I think she's a bit more fragile emotionally and mentally than she's letting on. I don't know if it's like a complex with like, oh, well, you know, all the things those kids went through when they were so young, and maybe she's not giving herself some credit that she's, I'm guessing, gone through some of her own shit, but she's like, well, that's nothing compared to, you know, what those kids have gone through. Is it going to be that kind of thing? She's like, well, what does my trauma or whatever I'm going through matter when those kids were struggling so much and they're so young? She definitely seems very selfless in that kind of respect. She's very much like, she'll put others, you know, even like a complete stranger, I feel like she like save them over saving herself. She, you know, there's kind of that kind of quality to her. Obviously, I could be talking absolute BS about all these characters because I don't really know all of them yet, and their backstories may reveal something different. They may just turn evil. Maybe they're all ghosts. Is everyone dead? I don't know. But obviously there's a little something, a little hints of something going on with Bly itself, I think, with like the ghostly, creepy things we're seeing, and the kids and Owen and Hannah. There's obviously more to that story, and Danny herself as well. Maybe the gardener lady, potentially Jamie. Is there going to be more to her? Is she going to have some tragic secret or ghostly secret as well? I don't know. But I think the dynamics that they've explored in this one already are very, very strong. I love the kind of group of people, and the little kind of interplays between the two of them. It seems like Owen and Hannah kind of just like teasing each other. And all the adults seem to have like a somewhat decent relationship with the kids. So if they're that easy to get on with and that easy to like, you know, exactly what is going on with those kids then, and what does that all mean, and how is it all going to unfold? So I have a lot of questions, a lot of kind of freaky moments in there as well. Not too bad. I feel like the first episode of Hill House scared me a lot more. But I'm kind of happy that I'm not emotionally scarred one episode into this, so that's fine. And yeah, lots of things that we just don't understand yet, and I imagine we're not going to understand for another 8 episodes. And even then, by the end of the show, I might still be like, what? Because I might be thick, but I'm really excited to see how this story unfolds. I really like these characters a lot. I'm very much invested in the story. You know, I got like 25 minutes in. I was like, you know what, I'm all in. I'm just enjoying the ride. And the way it's been framed as this older woman telling this story, it's like, oh, it's not my story. What does that all mean? Who is that going to be? So I'm kind of desperate for answers. I always regret watching this as I watched it, because I can't watch the next one right away. But I'm going to have to try and be somewhat patient, but also not, because I do need to get all these recorded and edited in time for the Halloween season to probably kick in. behind the scenes, as I record this episode, this first one, this reaction needs to go up in 20 days, so just under 3 weeks. So that should give me time to kind of get it all done and sorted, you know, copyright allowing, of course. I did have a few troubles with Hill House getting blocked a lot. Hopefully that won't be the case here, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, really strong first episode. I'm fully on board with the characters and the mystery. I can't wait to find out more. I'm not sure how much more I can really speculate at such an early stage. More will get revealed as time goes on, but I'm really intrigued by this whole mystery, and I'm excited for more. So yeah, very strong start. Some creepy elements in there, but really good character stuff as well, which I think Hill House also excelled at, both those things. And I'm excited for more, but that's going to be everything for this first episode. And if you are watching this the day it goes out, I should hopefully see you tomorrow for the reaction to episode 2. If you're watching this in the far, far future, and it's long since been Halloween 2021 and all the reactions are up, then this is completely irrelevant. Ignore it. Sorry for wasting your time. But yeah, that is going to be everything for now, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.